If you didn't know, or now you know, counselors need a counsellor. My goal here is always to educate you guys about all things counselling and therapy. So let's get into it. Counsellors, do they actually need a counsellor? The short answer is yes, but let's get into the reals of what a supervisor is and whether a counsellor actually needs to see a therapist, what they do, and who my current supervisors are while I'm currently on placement and I'm still a trainee therapist. So, like I said before, all counsellors and therapists, while they're practicing, the key word is practicing, they must have their own counsellor who is known as a supervisor. So it's not technically a counsellor because a supervisor's role is slightly different, but every supervisor is a registered therapist anyway. So yes, they all need to have their own supervisors. However, it's not essential for them to actually have a therapist or a counsellor that they go to and talk about their problems with, because they might not need it, and it's not a necessity and it's not compulsory to have a therapist even if you are practicing. So I hope that clears up any confusion you might have had. As a trainee counsellor, yes, I have to have a therapist that I go to about my problems because it's a requirement of the course. But once I'm qualified, I don't have to carry on seeing a therapist, essentially, because it's not mandatory. But by ethical practice standards, it is compulsory and mandatory for any practicing and fully qualified therapist to have a supervisor that they see every single month on a regular basis, at the bare minimum, once a month. However, if a counsellor is retired, if they're on maternity leave, if they're on sick leave, if they're on holiday, if they are no longer practicing or currently not practicing, then there is no need for them to see a supervisor because they don't have any clients, so they have nothing to talk to their supervisor about, which is what I'm going to get to in a bit. So what is a supervisor? So a supervisor is like a mentor that is specifically for a therapist who is currently practicing. So with a supervisor, the practicing therapist will speak to their supervisor about their clients, the client work. That is the one time that it is mandatory for them to talk about their clients and to give details about their client. So what do counsellors need supervisors for? So the main thing is that it's an ethical requirement of practicing as a counsellor. You need to have a supervisor anyway. But the other thing is that you also need someone to go to talk about your clients. So when you feel stuck and you're not sure how to move forward or how to advise your client on something, you can ask your supervisor. If you are wanting to refer a client for whatever reason, maybe there is sexual attraction, maybe something inappropriate happened, maybe you don't feel comfortable working with that client and you'd rather refer them, you can speak to your supervisor about it before you make that big decision as to what to do about that relationship with your client. You can talk to them about things that might just be bothering you. So if you don't like a client and you're struggling because of transference and other things, you can go to your supervisor and basically complain or moan about your clients, about anything really that's to do with your clients or your client work. So as for me right now, I have an internal supervisor and an external supervisor, also known as a placement supervisor. So at first it was really confusing for me to get my head around it, but obviously now I get it. So for every single placement I do, if the placement doesn't have a supervisor already in place, I have to look for one myself. So that can be known as an external supervisor, but they are still my placement supervisor. The only difference is that they're not provided by my placement. The placement where I'm currently at right now, they had a supervisor that was affiliated with the school. They don't work with the school, but they're affiliated with the other therapist who works at the school. So they recommended her to me and they said that they would pay for my supervision sessions with her. So that's really, really great. Some placements will pay for your sessions with your supervisor, some won't. So I see my supervisor twice a month, once every 2 weeks. So roughly about every 8 hours that you have with a client, you're supposed to have 1 hour with your supervisor. But most therapists, I think, see their supervisor about once or twice a month at the least. So in the university, as part of the course, we all have an allocated supervisor who's known as an internal supervisor because they are internal to the university. They are our lecturers. Each lecturer is allocated, I think, a group of about 6 to 7 students, which is our supervision group. So every Friday morning from 10 to 11:30, we get together. One of us presents a client's case and we talk about it and we discuss it. I mean, we all share bits about where we're currently at in our placement journey, but the main focus is that one person will bring a client to present and then we'll talk about it and help them. So that's currently how it's working. And as of 2 days ago, I got my second placement, which I really, really needed to reach my 100 hours for this year. So they said to me that they do everything online and they have group supervision, so they don't offer one-to-one supervision. They do group supervision with 4 people, and because it's 4 people, I have to record how many supervision hours I have. So because there's 4 of us, each hour has to be divided into 4, so I can only claim 15 minutes of that, which is unfortunate because then it means it takes me longer to get my supervision hours. They also said I have the option to get my own supervisor, so get somebody external who I find on my own. So I think actually, just to save myself some money, I think I'll stick to the supervisor that I have now and just bring the same set of clients to her that I already have, rather than paying an extra £40 a month to have that supervision with the group. And in all honesty, I think I want to stick to one-to-one supervision. I don't really think I ever want to do group supervision. I may do it once if I'm forced to, or if I have to, maybe next year with my new placement, but for now I'm happy to just do one-to-one, because I feel like there's so much to say about a client that having 15 or 30 minutes is not enough to kind of go through all the clients that you have. So I think I'm just going to stick to my supervisor that I've got now, since she's already paid for by my first placement. So I hope that makes sense and that helps you for when you start your training, and hopefully for those of you who are in your first year of training, this will make sense to you. Even if you're doing your diploma, this is what you can look forward to when you start your master's training course. So I hope that really helped. And the next thing I recommend you watch is the All Things Counselling playlist, which has all the information you need and all the things you can expect once you begin your training to becoming a psychotherapist. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.